For centuries, Venus remained one of the greatest mysteries in the solar system. Seen through telescopes, it appeared as a brilliant white sphere, permanently concealed beneath a thick global blanket of clouds. Its surface was completely invisible. No mountains, no oceans, no continents. Because of this, many astronomers imagined a warm, humid world below the haze, perhaps covered in vast swamps or alien seas. Then, in 1962, the spacecraft Mariner 2 flew past Venus and transmitted the first reliable measurements back to Earth. The results stunned scientists. Venus was not a hidden paradise. Instead, it turned out to be a planetary furnace. Surface temperatures reached about 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, while atmospheric pressure is roughly 92 times stronger than on Earth. Beneath its clouds lies an atmosphere composed mostly of carbon dioxide, capped by thick layers of sulfuric acid clouds that trap heat with brutal efficiency. From space, Venus still resembles Earth, similar in size, mass, and gravity, which is why it's often called Earth's twin. But in reality, it is one of the most hostile worlds ever discovered. In the 1970s and 1980s, Soviet Venera program landers became the first spacecraft to transmit images directly from the Venusian surface. What they revealed was a harsh landscape of fractured rocks and volcanic terrain. Later, in the early 1990s, Magellan mapped the planet in extraordinary detail using radar, finally giving scientists a global view of Venus for the first time. And the picture that emerged was intensely volcanic. Roughly 80% of Venus is covered by vast volcanic plains, enormous basaltic fields formed by ancient lava flows. Two massive highland regions rise above these plains. In the northern hemisphere lies Ishtar Terra, a continent-sized plateau roughly comparable to Australia. Towering within it are the Maxwell Montes, the tallest mountains on the planet. Farther south stretches the even larger Aphrodite Terra, a sprawling continent-sized region nearly as large as South America. Venus is also littered with strange geological structures found nowhere else in the solar system. Pancake-shaped volcanoes called Farah, giant spiderweb fracture systems known as arachnoids, and enormous circular structures called coronae, which may form when hot material rises from deep inside the planet. Perhaps most astonishing is just how volcanically active Venus appears to be. Scientists have identified more than 85,000 volcanoes across the planet's surface, including 167 giant volcanoes over 100 kilometers wide, far more than anything found on Earth. Some of them may still be erupting today. Data from the Venus Express detected intense infrared hotspots near the massive shield volcano Mart Mons, likely produced by freshly erupted lava. The surface itself is surprisingly young, estimated to be between 300 and 600 million years old. This suggests that Venus may have undergone a dramatic global resurfacing event, where enormous volcanic outpourings essentially repaved the entire planet. Unlike Earth, Venus shows no clear evidence of plate tectonics. Without moving plates to release internal heat gradually, pressure builds inside the planet until it may eventually trigger massive volcanic resurfacing events. Above the crushing lower atmosphere floats a permanent global cloud deck 45 to 70 kilometers above the surface. These clouds are composed mostly of sulfuric acid droplets, formed through chemical reactions triggered by ultraviolet sunlight. The clouds are extremely reflective, bouncing nearly 70% of incoming sunlight back into space, which is why Venus shines so brilliantly in Earth's sky. Yet paradoxically, very little sunlight actually reaches the ground. Only about 10% penetrates the dense clouds. The atmosphere itself behaves in a strange and powerful way. While the planet rotates very slowly, the upper atmosphere moves at extraordinary speeds in a phenomenon known as atmospheric superrotation. At the cloud tops, winds can reach around 300 km per hour, circling the entire planet in just 4 days. Near the surface, winds are much slower. However, because the air is so dense, about 50 times thicker than Earth's atmosphere at sea level, even gentle winds can push dust, sand, and small stones across the landscape. Temperatures on Venus are also remarkably uniform. Whether at the equator or the poles, day or night, the surface remains almost the same blistering temperature. With its crushing pressure, acid clouds, and furnace-like heat, the atmosphere of Venus transforms the entire planet into a true greenhouse world. Venus orbits the Sun at about 0.72 astronomical units, or 108 million kilometers, taking 224.7 Earth days to complete one trip. Its orbit is almost perfectly circular, the most circular of any planet today. But long ago, Venus may have had a much more stretched orbit, which could have affected its early climate. Venus spins in a way that makes it truly unique. Unlike most planets, it rotates backwards, clockwise on its axis, opposite to its motion around the Sun. This means its sidereal day, the time it takes to rotate once, is 243 Earth days, longer than its year. But because of the retrograde spin, a solar day is only 116.75 Earth days. If you stood on the surface, the Sun would rise in the west and set in the east, though its thick clouds make the Sun impossible to see. Scientists think Venus's odd spin came from billions of years of impacts, tidal forces, and its dense atmosphere being heated by the Sun. These forces may have nudged Venus into its current, slow, backwards rotation, with small fluctuations in day length of up to 20 minutes. Venus has no moons today, though models suggest it may have had one in the past. A giant collision could have flipped its spin and caused the moon to crash into the planet, leaving Venus lonely. Humanity's first steps towards Venus begin in the early 1960s. The Soviet Venera 1, launched in 1961, was the first interplanetary attempt, though contact was lost before reaching the planet. A year later, the United States' Mariner 2 became the first successful interplanetary mission, flying just 35,000 kilometers above Venus and sending back the first reliable data on its scorching, dense atmosphere. The mid-1960s brought rapid progress. Venera 3 became the first spacecraft to impact another planet, although it returned no data. Venera 4 in 1967 penetrated the atmosphere and confirmed the hostile reality. Temperatures near 500 degrees C, crushing pressures, and an atmosphere dominated by carbon dioxide. Long-held visions of a hidden, Earth-like paradise were shattered. By 1970, Venera 7 achieved the first soft landing on another planet, sending data directly to Earth. In 1974, Mariner 10 used Venus for the first interplanetary gravity assist, bending its path toward Mercury while photographing clouds and revealing incredibly high wind speeds. Radar observations soon identified Venus's first surface features, including reflective highlands and mountains like Maxwell Montes. The 1970s and 1980s brought humanity's first surface images. Early Venera landers returned black and white images, later supplemented with color-filtered photos. Orbiters mapped much of the northern hemisphere, and balloons sent to the atmosphere achieved the first extraterrestrial flight beyond Earth. Between 1990 and 1994, NASA's Magellan orbiter produced high-resolution radar maps of the entire surface. Flybys from spacecraft headed to other planets added more details, while ESA's Venus Express, 2006 to 2014, revealed unprecedented atmospheric dynamics. Japan's Akatsuki extended observational reach, and recent flybys continue into the 2020s. Looking ahead, missions like NASA's Veritas and Da Vinci, ESA's Envision, India's Venus Orbiter mission, and private projects like Venus Lifefinder aim to uncover even more secrets. Scientists study Venus not just to understand its infernal surface and thick clouds, but to learn how Earth-like worlds form, evolve, and, perhaps, develop conditions for life. Intriguingly, Venus may even play a role in human exploration. Its surface is deadly, yet 50 kilometers above the clouds, pressures and temperatures are surprisingly Earth-like, inspiring ideas of floating habitats and cloud cities, proof that even the harshest worlds might hold paths to discovery. Venus doesn't have Earth's magnetic shield. Its magnetic field is tiny and weak, not generated by a spinning core like ours, but induced by the solar wind slamming into its upper atmosphere. This offers almost no protection from cosmic radiation or charged particles from the Sun. It's puzzling. Venus is Earth-sized, so why no dynamo? A planetary dynamo needs three things: a conductive liquid core, rotation, and convection. Venus ticks the first two boxes. Its core is likely molten and electrically conductive, and even its slow rotation could be enough. The missing piece appears to be convection. On Earth, convection in the liquid outer core, driven by a temperature difference between top and bottom, powers the dynamo. On Venus, a combination of factors may have stalled this process. Global resurfacing events and a stagnant mantle could trap heat, slowing the flow of energy from the core. Without these currents, the core cannot generate a magnetic field. Instead, its heat seeps into the crust, possibly feeding the planet's volcanic activity. Other ideas exist. The core might be uniformly hot, fully solidified, or stratified, preventing the swirling motion needed for a geodynamo. Unlike Earth, Venus may never have experienced a moon-forming collision, leaving its interior layered and calm, without the jolt to start convection. The consequences are dynamic. With almost no magnetic shield, the solar wind strips away hydrogen and oxygen from the upper atmosphere. Lighter elements escape into space, while heavier molecules like carbon dioxide linger. Over billions of years, this likely drained most of Venus's water, leaving the scorching, dry world we see today. Evidence of this loss is written in the sky itself. The ratio of heavy deuterium to light hydrogen is nearly 100 times higher than in the rest of the solar system, a silent fingerprint of a planet that may once have had oceans. While Venus's surface is far too hostile for any Earth-like life, scientists have long wondered if life could survive higher up, in the planet's upper cloud layers about 50 kilometers or 30 miles above the surface. Here, temperatures are far milder, ranging roughly from 30 to 80 degrees C or 86 to 175 Fahrenheit. Pressures are similar to those at Earth's surface, and radiation is manageable. The clouds themselves are acidic, and the air is mostly carbon dioxide, but between roughly 48 and 59 kilometers altitude, conditions are the most Earth-like anywhere in the solar system. Lower down, water would evaporate instantly. Higher up, ultraviolet radiation becomes deadly. Interest in Venusian life began to fade in the 1960s, once spacecraft confirmed the extreme surface conditions. However, researchers have speculated that thermoacidophilic extremophiles, microbes that thrive in hot, acidic environments on Earth, might survive in the cooler, cloud-top layers. In 1967, Carl Sagan and Harold Moderowitz even suggested that tiny objects detected in the clouds could be microbial life. More recent studies continue to fuel intrigue. Observations in 2019 noted mysterious absorbers in Venus's atmosphere that change the planet's reflectivity over time. Their light absorption patterns resemble those of microbes found in Earth's clouds. In 2020, Reports suggested the presence of phosphine, a potential biosignature, though later analyses questioned this, attributing the signal to sulfur compounds instead. Though life on Venus remains hypothetical, the clouds offer one of the few places in the solar system where liquid water, sunlight, and temperate pressures coincide. It's a reminder that even the most extreme planets may still hold secrets waiting to be discovered.